The defending champs, Troy, taking on the upstart Georgia Southern Eagles, the 10 seed, trying to win 6 games in 6 days. Let's preview it next. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Let's see if we can share this here. Today's episode is, hold on, we're trying to share it. I can't figure out how to do that here. All right. Nonetheless, we're here to preview today's the game, Troy versus Georgia Southern. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. All right. Ended up showing up a little bit later than I expected, then family FaceTime. And let's see if we can settle into this. If I can, let me see here. Do it on YouTube. So you get the Troy Trojans going up against a Georgia Southern. One team we thought was going to be here. Another team we did not. Picked Troy to win the ball, to win the tournament. Did want to pick, wasn't picking Georgia Southern. In fact, I'm not sure I picked Georgia Southern at all because, they hadn't played very well. At least it appeared that way for a minute. Had a very, big time up and down season, right? They had won 9 straight. Then they went into a tailspin. And they did have a couple of nice wins against Marshall, as it turns out, including the final game of the regular season, which it didn't really prevent Marshall from doing anything. They still would have been second seed. All right. Meanwhile, Troy started out great, and then all of a sudden struggled a little bit for, Sang got hurt, but that was well after they started struggling. And so they sort of started coming back, but they really didn't, right? They lost to South Alabama. They had the easier schedule at the end of the season, and they played ULM twice, the Cajuns, and South Alabama, and they lost the only hard game that they had. But nonetheless, they won their last game because it was against ULM. Everybody else, South Alabama, Marshall, App, all lost. All could have tied for the top spot, and they all lost. Turns out after that 6-game, 6-way tie for second place, all those teams lost too. Not one who finished in that second place tie, 6-way second place tie, never didn't win any ball games. So there was that. Okay. Now let's see what happened earlier this year and if these two teams even did play. I, again, got here back a little bit later than expected. Let's see here. Georgia Southern. I'm going to fill in. Troy did beat Georgia Southern. They only played once, and that was 83-78 at Georgia Southern. All right. Let's see when that was in Georgia Southern's schedule. Because that was early on in the season, in fact, it appears. Let me see where the Georgia Southern ball game. Oh, no, I'm looking for Troy. All right, so Troy. No, it was towards when they were struggling. All right, they had won that 9 in a row, lost to South Alabama, beat ODU, and then they lost to Coastal, lost to Arkansas State, and lost to Troy. All at home. It's really hard to win in college basketball on the road, except Georgia Southern lost all those close games, and except the Arkansas State game was close. Coastal Carolina, they lost by 4 at home. They got blown out by 17 by Arkansas State at home. They lost by 5 at home. They beat Monroe, but then they lost 3 in a row again. They lost to the Cajuns. They lost to Texas State. They lost to App State. They blew out Marshall at home, lost to Georgia State, lost to App State, lost to James Madison. Then they found themselves on a roll. They beat Marshall to end the regular season, scoring 99 points. They beat Old Dominion in the second round of the tournament. ODU beat, I think, ULM. Then they beat Arkansas State by 3. Then they beat South Alabama. They blitzkrieged them. South Alabama was beating them by 10 points more to the second half, and they went on a ridiculous run, right? What do we break it down to? 2 points, less than 2 points a minute for the first 32 and a half minutes, and then they scored almost 5 points a minute after that. They beat Coastal 96-72, and they slipped past Marshall last night 82-78. So again, to say that anybody saw this coming by Georgia Southern, we always thought that they had the offensive capability, but there's no way anybody saw this coming from Georgia Southern. Again, maybe what we said about Southern Miss is applying to Georgia Southern. You get a little bit of confidence, which they got with Marshall. Then they were playing ODU, and all of a sudden they've won 2 ball games in a row. The hard one is going to be Arkansas State. They got past Arkansas State, and now they're playing South Alabama. South Alabama hasn't played in a week. The problem is that South Alabama's, I'm not even sure if it's a weakness, but their game plan is to allow you to shoot 3-pointers. Georgia Southern is going to shoot 3-pointers, and they set a record for 3-pointers made with 23. They attempted 44. They only attempted 8 2-point shots. They only attempted 1 in the first half. Again, nobody saw this run coming from Georgia Southern. I'm still picking Troy, but let's be honest. The bigger, better story for the Sun Belt is going to be Georgia Southern. So this would be the story if Troy wins it. Troy, the defending champs, and Scott Cross are back-to-back Sun Belt champions. They're going back to the NCAA tournament. Scott Cross, all kind of rumors, going to Georgia Tech. That's the story. That's the end of the story. And it doesn't get as much play as if you saw all of the national and regional and, burner college basketball feed on my timeline. Everybody is talking about Georgia Southern trying to win 6 games in 6 days. The Sun Belt would get a huge amount of exposure. They're going to get a lot of exposure tonight anyways, because I think the Southern Conference is the only other team that's playing tonight. The rest of the tournaments don't start until tomorrow or Wednesday. So they're going to get a lot of play college basketball-wise. Either way. But if Georgia Southern wins, it's going to be a lot more. It is going to be all over social media. They didn't quite do the stairway to 7, but they almost did. Let's see what the spread is. All right. Let me see quickly. I presume Troy is a relatively solid favorite. Actually, not that much. It opened up at 5.5. It's down to 4.5. I thought they'd be more. Troy's playing second time in 2 days. Georgia Southern's playing for the 6th time in 6 days. And I thought it would be closer to 7 or 8, maybe even double digits. That's how much respect and offensive firepower that they have. All right. Let me get the ads in now because we're only going to do one segment. And I will wait for it to tip off. I presume it's going to tip off at, just after 7 o'clock, 7:05. They'll probably, sometimes these games tip off right as they're coming on the air. We'll see. All right. But I'm not going to talk during the game. We are going to go over to Discord. So if you are on Discord, we can chat it up there. All right. We'll start in the college basketball chat room. If we have Sunbelt people, we can do that as well. I'm not sure anybody's going to be in the Sunbelt chat room. All right. Do we actually have a comment here? Oh, good. Sunbelt Syndicate, I expect the Eagles to jump out quick, but Troy to be just too much. All right. Dominic putting his 2 cents in. We appreciate it. Dominic, always there when we need him. Leader of the Sunbelt Syndicate. Okay. It'll be interesting to see. Here's the other thing, right? This South Alabama zone did not work. Troy beat Southern Miss because their zone did, because Southern Miss is not your, we're going to bombs away 3-pointers, right? They're trying to get it inside, layups and free throws. And they did a really good job on Talik Weeks yesterday. And he had a great tournament, going to be on the all-tournament team. And so how does Troy play this defensively against Georgia Southern? It'll be interesting to see this. Charlie Henry in his biggest ball game as the Georgia Southern coach. It's kind of been up and down. I think him and Brian Hodgson got the job the same year. One was at Arkansas State, so it's got to be his third year, I think. And Charlie Henry here at Georgia Southern. Brian Hodgson is already at USF and maybe to Syracuse. All right, so we'll see. All right, let me get the ads in, and then we'll come right back, and we'll take it to tip-off, all right? Let me tell you about, let's see here. There we go. All right, we're back. Media assets. Let me tell you about Robinhood and TurboTax. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. And TurboTax. It's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is a lot. Trying to book an appointment, that's not the most convenient. Sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth and wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get every dollar you deserve, while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person and walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. Head to turbotax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment today. All right, Dave Schultz, Lockdown Sunbelt, your teams every day. Thanks for hanging with us. Again, we will do a post-game show as well. You got to give me a little bit more time to get settled in. It'll be as quickly after the ball game as possible. The bigger blowout it is, if it is a blowout, that's easier to set up. If it's close, like these games were, yesterday's Troy, Marshall, and Georgia Southern ball game, you're gonna have to wait a couple of minutes. But we'll go on for a half an hour after the game. We'll talk about it and what seed they could get. Again, some people are saying play in. 16 seed, we'll see. All right. And if it matters that, what Scott Cross maybe learned from last year. All right. We're also going to be in Discord. So check us out in Discord. I'm just finding out about Discord. So we'll find out about it. Let me see. I can tell you, I got an email in here. Instead of Sunbelt, we will be in, again, college basketball chat room. Is that it? I get a lot of that email is, I said I was getting a lot of emails, but I went right past it. Are we still doing unread in the mailbox? Let's see here. Sort by unread. No. From. No. All right. So we'll just look for the college basketball room in Discord, and I'll put it out on I will put it out on social media that we're there. Let me see here. Okay. Where worth posting to the world. But you might get a little bit more engagement in the men's college basketball chat. So that's where we will be, at least to begin with. All right. We are waiting for Georgia Southern and Troy to tip off. I probably should have it on my TV, on my computer screen. TV is just in the other room. Can't see it from where I'm sitting. But it is on ESPN2, and I don't want the sound to come up here. There's the sound. We don't want that. All right. So they're a few minutes away from tipping off. They've done the introductions, and they are getting the final instructions there from the coaches. So again, we will have a post-game show. We will be in Discord. Join us there. We can chat about the games, the officiating. Is Pat Adams doing this ball game? Because we're just going to get comfortable and be here for the next 2.5 hours. Again, I'm picking Troy. I'll do a little bit of a higher scoring ball game, but we'll see if Georgia Southern has the legs. I'm going to go 80-68. I'll take Troy 80-68. I think Georgia Southern's going to run out of gas. All right. But again, if you told me it was 63-all with 8 minutes left to go yesterday against Marshall, I would have said the same thing. So take that for what it's worth. They did not. All right. All right. We're going to wait for this game to tip off. It is in a couple more minutes. And so we're doing more here on the Locked On Sunbelt. We're doing some live shows. We'll do live here. Somewhere along the way after baseball games, we'll see if we can do some live shows as well. Maybe a Sunday wrap-up live afterwards. That won't be directly because that's an issue as well because of work. All right, they're about to tip off. Enjoy the basketball. Join me in Discord and come back to Locked On Sunbelt on YouTube for live afterwards. We got Troy. We got Georgia Southern. All the marbles. Can Georgia Southern make it 6 wins in 6 days? And does Troy defend their their defending championship in the Sunbelt? All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Enjoy the ball game. We'll see you afterwards.